Hey everybody, my name is James. I'm from Mind Unlimited, and I wanted to share my experience and some practical tips on heart palpitations. If you are experiencing heart palpitations right now, I know it's extremely scary and really cause a lot of stress, because that's what I felt when I was experiencing them. I thought, no, my heart's ruined, I'm gonna have a heart attack, I'm never gonna be able to exercise before. But here I am 5 or 4 years later, and I'm healthy as nothing is wrong. So I kind of wanted to share my experience with it so far, because I've seen a lot of different information out there, a lot of personal accounts, and at least my experience of reading through all this material made me just confused. So here's my experience with it so far and some practical tips. So how did it start out? When I was in university, I was very stressed out, and I remember one time after I finished exercising, I started feeling heart palpitations, which was this really strong sensation of my heart beating as though it was skipping beats. And this really freaked me out. And it continued to happen. So every time I would finish some exercise, on the way down, as my heart was slowing down after being up really high, I'd experience the heart palpitations. I then started to experience it whenever I was stressed. If I was giving a presentation or I was nervous, I'd also experience it then, which really just caused more stress. So after a while of this, I finally thought, okay, I need to go to a doctor and talk to somebody about this. And the first thing they did was just run a regular heart scan, and they couldn't find anything. Then they put on a Holter monitor, which is a 24-hour heart measuring device that you wear on your body, and you can press a button when you feel the palpitations. Then I actually got onto a treadmill, and they hooked me up to this machine, and I ran, cranked my heartbeat up really high, so they could actually measure all the differences in my heartbeat. And they finally found something, hey James, you actually do have heart palpitations. And then my question was, okay, so what do I do next? What's the answer to this? And the truth is, there was no answer. They just said, well, they're not dangerous, so don't worry about them. And I thought, well, you can't just say that. I am going to worry about them, and they are causing me a lot of stress. So after that, it became, really just me learning more about it and figuring out different ways to deal with it. But from that experience, I really learned, well, sometimes you do get heart palpitations, and they're just nothing to worry about. They're not harmful. But how do you deal with the psychological side of it? So what would happen to me is that I would feel anxious, and then I would feel, these heartbeats, and those heartbeats would then cause more anxiety, and I would just go around and around in a circle, feeling really anxious and really stressed out. And the question is, is it your anxiety that's causing the heart palpitations, or is it because you're anxious that you notice them? Because, anxiety and heart palpitations tend to go together, and you can read the different literature on this. And one of the things that definitely happens is when you are stressed out and you're anxious, you get better at noticing sensations in your body. You get in this heightened state of alertness. So the moment you do feel something, you're already aware of it. You're always on the lookout. And that's something I was experiencing. I was always looking out for the feeling, and I was getting better and better at noticing it. So even a little bit of it would cause me all the stress. So dealing with that just became a matter of doing things like meditation and getting out and exercising and just allowing myself to calm down and relax. If anything, the palpitations weren't bad, but it was all this mental noise that I had about it, which was creating a problem. And I go off on these tangents thinking, oh no, now I'm never going to be able to exercise, my heart is all messed up, I'm going to die of a heart attack, which is just classic negative thinking that you can get caught up with if you let your mind float off. So I guess, the core of this message is, if you do have heart palpitations, you're not going to screw up your whole life, and your life is not over. Like I said before, here I am 4 or 5 years later, and I'm healthy as I exercise almost every day. I still do get heart palpitations, but it's at the point now where they don't really bother me. And I think that's the real key, is knowing that you may experience them, but it's nothing to fear. They're uncomfortable, but not dangerous. And if you allow your mind to go in this circle of feeling it and feeling more anxious and then thinking you're going to die or something bad's going to happen, that's where the real problem is. So for me, doing things like meditation, relaxing, and learning more about what was happening to me, that was the really big thing that helped. So if you are experiencing heart palpitations, here's what I would recommend that you do. just go to a doctor to begin with. Figure out what is wrong with you, because most likely there's absolutely nothing wrong. But if you put it off, that will cause more stress and you're just avoiding something that's really important. After that, take a look at how are the palpitations causing you stress, and are you letting your mind float off into these really negative pathways? Now, if you are, look into doing things like meditation. And why is it so important? Because it allows you to just focus your mind. So rather than your mind running off on these tangents about how bad things are, you can kind of just bring it back to center and think, hey, I've got these palpitations. They feel uncomfortable, but it's nothing dangerous. So that's been my experience with it so far. If you do have any questions, please feel free to send me a message, get in contact, because I really do want to help out with this problem. It was really crappy when I was dealing with this. I really didn't find there was a lot of good information out there. So, hopefully this helps, and really just don't sweat it. I just don't think, in most cases, I really don't think it's going to be a big deal, and you can definitely deal with it. Thanks. I'll see you next time.